Hi there, and happy week after Thanksgiving. It's Lauren G. Foster with Be Happy First on a Tuesday, and welcome. As I told you last week, we're going to start something different in the month of December and moving forward, in that we are going to let this show, the How to Choose Happiness show, follow the outline of Be Happy First University, which is a very content-rich 6-month program. So if you were to show up here every week and listen to these videos and or watch these videos and do the homework or activities that go along with each one, by the end of 6 months you will have thousands of dollars worth of personal coaching that has only been available in the past for Be Happy First University students. So we're going to start this month on the power of words. And this is such a giant topic that permeates every single thing that we do. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to run over what the entire month will look like and then start on this week's message, which is from the book, The Four Agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. And Tammy and I will do our best to get notes put into the comments, and Tammy's here with us, so wave hi to Tammy. Um, and to be able to give you support materials if you want them, and if you want to reach out to us with questions or comments or experiences that you have, we're trying to build a community here, and this is just something that we need your help with, for you to chime in and let your voice be heard. Be curious, be a student, be someone who decides to seek and to learn. So before we start on the topic this month, I want to talk a little bit about Tammy Todd, my partner, and what the team Be Happy First looks like. And Tammy and I have at the core of our soul the same message of love and forgiveness and deliberate creation and living our lives on purpose. But we're very different people. We have different approaches to things. So I think between the two of us, you're going to be able to find messages that resonate with you. And Tammy has started a blog, and she has a separate entity that's called Master Inner Health, that she has a lot of products, and she does vegan cooking or plant-based cooking. And so we have a vast variety between the two of us of ways to be healthy in your body, ways to be happy in your soul, ways to create your life on purpose. So get engaged with us and join us and take what we are so generously offering you. So the power of words. In the first week, our topic will be based on, again, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. And the title of this week's topic is to be impeccable with your word. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more in just a minute. And then next week, we're going to talk about the worthiness of words and the value of silence. All throughout history, there have been different literary examples in poetry, and the rotary four-way test is a very good example of testing our words and our actions before we bring them about. So next week we're going to learn about the Be Happy First four-way test of your words and how to choose them to be the most empowered and the most empowering, so that we are always using our words, both the words that we say to ourselves and the words that we say out loud, to build and to create and to add to the beauty and the love and the expansiveness of our world, and never ever to detract from it. And then in week 3, we're going to get even more specific about words like I can't and I have to, and learning how to replace those with words like I can and I'm going to and I get to, and how we specifically can reconstruct our vocabulary so that we are showing up as the empowered, creating our worlds on purpose in tandem with our great God, our maker, the life force that is beating our hearts in each and every day, and building and expanding and lending our impact and our expansion to the universe. And then finally in week 4, we're going to talk about stories. Stories is another way of just kind of the story that we tell about our past, the story that we tell about our present, the story that we tell about our future. And it's another way of saying our beliefs. So the stories that are already implanted in our head as a result of moving through our lives and the things that we've experienced and the things that people have said to us, and all of the things that have happened have created these stories that we tell about ourselves and about others and about life in general. And these stories define us. And so identifying the stories that we are telling that are in alignment with who we are and who we want to be and how we want to create, and keeping those stories, and then finding the ones that don't and rewriting those stories in a way that really expresses who we really are and how we want to show up in the world. So I always encourage everyone at the beginning of a new month to take this opportunity to revise your vision, to look at what it is that you mean to create in the next 12, 18, 24 months or 5 years, or even if you have very, very big projects and big dreams that extend beyond that. When you have a clear picture of where you want to go, it's so much easier for the universe to send you ways to get there. So the beginning of a month is a great time to brush up your vision and add in things that you've thought of since the last time that you wrote it, and revise things that you've already accomplished, and change things according to what you've learned and how you've grown since the time that you created it. Your vision, again, is a living, breathing document and your compass, your rudder that you use to steer your ship in the direction of your greatest dreams and your greatest yearning. So we also encourage you to work with your Why Not Me, Why Not Now, which is your 6-month goals that are more tangible, more analytical, more practical, more action oriented, but always bringing to all of this work a sense of joy and of fun and inspiration. We hope to teach the difference between just doing something to try and make things happen, or getting really tuned in with yourself and aligned with your higher power and aligned with your vision, and then taking inspired action that feels wonderful and feels joyous. And I'm not saying that we're doing away with hard work. I'm not saying that we are doing only things that are easy. We can do hard things. We can increase our skills and increase our knowledge and show up better and better and smarter every single day. And we are always going to do those and embrace those things, but we're doing it from our place of power, from our place of being a deliberate creator, instead of from a place of lack of control, of trying to make things happen with the force of our teeny tiny little human will and our teeny tiny little human power. So, not to digress, but it's important to have a big vision, and it's important to have a plan, a strategy, a method that is leading you along the path towards your greatest destiny, towards your greatest dream. So we always encourage you to do that every single month. And then our activity, we'll have an activity that we want to kind of focus on and play around with each week. And that activity for this week is just to begin to increase your awareness of words, the words that you say, the words that you think, the words that other people say. Just observe. You can observe other people's conversations, and it's such an objective, kind of empowered place to stand completely unattached from the outside in and watch the way people talk to each other. Watch the words that they use and the response that those words get from the other person. And just observe that we're not ready to start censoring ourselves. We're not ready to start correcting anything. Right now, we're just raising our awareness. How many times do you rob yourself of your own power by saying things like, I can't do that? So we're going to get more into that in future shows, I guess. But you always can. You always have a choice as to how you choose to invest your energy, where you choose to place your attention. Now, you may not want the consequences of doing or not doing something or another, and you may really want the outcome from something that you choose to do, but there's nothing that you have to do, and there's nothing that you can't do. These are all about the choice of how you choose to spend your time and your energy, and you get to choose. Okay, so that's our activity for this week. So just paying attention to the words that you say, the words that you think, the words that you hear other people say. Now, the power of words comes in kind of two parts. The first is that we use words to create or to build down. So our words are like seeds that we sow. So we can sow beautiful seeds of roses and joy and beauty and growth and encouragement and building one another up, or we can sow seeds of dissension and doubt and unforgiveness, the opposite of unforgiveness, holding grudges. So casting these seeds out with our words. And then the second part of that equation is the garden that we create within our own mind, which is going to determine which seeds in the world, which words are allowed to land in our consciousness and grow and become something. So create a fertile garden that is welcoming to words of love and words of forgiveness and words of growth and positivity and optimism, and an atmosphere that is absolutely blocking words of hate, words of fear, words of anger and judgment and lack of forgiveness. So standing guard at the portal of your mind. This is where all of your power is. And if you're allowing outside forces like the news, like commercials, like the media from every direction to sow seeds in your mind and allowing those to grow that are giving you untrue message that the world is ugly and that the world is dangerous and that people are bad, because that's not the truth. The truth is that most of us are behaving in amazing and awesome and wonderful, kind ways. And a few times people get out of connection with their source and out of alignment with the goodness that they really are. And that's the little tiny percent that is shown on the news. So choose whether you want to magnify those kinds of things or if you want to turn the other cheek, if you will, and look at the ways that people are being kind. Look at the ways that people are adding to the lives of one another and not the way that people are tearing each other down. So always it's a choice. Always you get to choose where you put your attention. And the other kind of important thing to think about of our words is that they're one of the very first manifestations of our thoughts. This, here comes Romeo. This, oh, here we go. This entire movement that is Be Happy First is to teach you that this is an inside out universe, that the things that we think and the vibrations that we're coming forth with are what shows up in our world. It has to be. This is science, that things that are not vibrating according to one another can't exist in the same space. So if you are hearing yourself say words that are angry, that are mean, that are ugly to other people, and especially to yourself, take the next step backwards and go, why? What is the thought that created that word? Words and emotions show up kind of simultaneously. So you have a thought that makes you feel bad and makes you say an angry or derogatory word pretty much at the same time. So they're an instant clue as to what's going on in your psyche, what's going on in your vibration, what types of thoughts you're thinking. Romeo wants to be the star of this show. You're okay. You get to be. You get to be. So this is the power of our words. We cast spells with our words. So again, I totally recommend the book, Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, and Tammy will probably jump on and put that in the comments, and if she doesn't, we'll go back and do it a little bit later. But I want to go over really quickly what we mean by an agreement and what the four agreements are, and then the first part of what we mean by being impeccable with your word. So an agreement is, we have all agreed that this color is orangish red. We have all agreed what white is, what black is. We have agreed that the white stuff that falls out of the sky is called snow. These we make social agreements with one another all the time that make up our reality. Well, sometimes we make agreements that are not true. So we become domesticated is another word that Don Miguel uses. And we speak in a language, no matter what language it is that we're speaking, that we have agreed on the meanings of the words. So once we understand what those meanings are, then we use these words, this code, to transfer energy to one another. So sometimes we get ideas in our head from outside influences. Don Miguel tells a story in the book about a woman, a wonderful, awesome, loving mother who just had a very bad day. She had an awful day at work and she had a splitting headache, and she came home and her little daughter was in a very different place. She was feeling amazing and she was laughing and dancing around and singing. And her mother said, "Oh, can you please stop with that racket? Your voice is horrible. You're on my last nerve." Well, within just a couple of minutes, she had forgotten that she said those words, but those words landed in that little girl's mind, and those seeds grew, and she made an agreement with the fact that she did not have a nice voice and she never sang again. And so, this was the person that loved her the most in the world, and she never would have done this on purpose, but she used her words unconsciously and to ill effect. So it's so important to watch the words that you say. My niece Allison, I was thinking of this over the weekend, over last week when I got to see her. When she was young, she was in the teenage years where, kids are starting to think about drinking. And I was explaining to her why you're not supposed to drink alcohol until you reach a certain age, which was that your brain hasn't fully developed. And if you ingest alcohol, you can inhibit the growth of your brain. And a few weeks later, I said, "Allison, why don't you drink before your 21st birthday?" And she quoted back to me exactly what I said. And it's astounding. And you never know who's listening. And you never know what exactly is going on in the minds of anyone. So just don't take a chance, and always choose your words with kindness. Always choose to cast a spell of white magic on your words before you release them out into the world, and set the intention that they're only to be good. And again, this is even more important, the words that you say to yourself. We're going to get into this more fully later on in the month, but we say such horrible things to ourselves sometimes. And I hear people say them out loud. I'm so stupid. And I want to shake them and say, "Don't you say that about my girl." So careful of the words that you use with yourself and with everyone. So the 4 agreements from the book are: first, be impeccable with your word. Second, don't take anything personally. If you go through life assuming that everybody's got their own thing and that everything's not about you, life suddenly gets so much easier. And Don Miguel goes into this in a great way that is just beautiful. And I encourage you to study on that more if you're interested. The third is to don't make assumptions. And we do this all the time. We assume that someone is going to be mad at us if we have to change an appointment, if we choose to change an appointment. When half the time when you go to change the appointment, that person is relieved. Like, "Oh, I was hoping to change that appointment too." Things are working out in your best interest all the time, and mine, and everyone's. The universe has the resources to bring everything that each of us needs, and no one has to be lacking in any way. So don't assume. And then finally, the 4th agreement is to always do your best. And this is so freeing, and another way of saying to always be in the present, because what's past is past. There's nothing you can do about that. What's in the future hasn't gotten here yet. So why not just do whatever it is that you're doing in the very best way that you can? And then when that's done, then do the next thing and do that the very best way that you can. Even if it's washing the dishes, even if it's sitting and looking out the window, even if it's watching TV, whatever it is that you're doing, do your best. Get all the joy, get all of the benefit from every moment that you get to live in this awesome, awesome human existence. So those are the 4 agreements. And again, the first is, in our opinion, and Don Miguel Ruiz's opinion, the most important. The way that we use our words is the way that we can generate heaven on earth or hell on earth. So we'll be back here on Thursday to talk more about the specifics of being impeccable with your word at 11:30 right here at Be Happy First. And in the meantime, we'd love to have your questions. We'd love to have your comments. We really want to know how specifically we can be of the most service to the most people. So do us a favor and let us know what that is.